Hi players, bonjour from Geneva. My name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today we're going to have an explanatory playthrough for Revenant that is published by Mindclash Games. As always, if you saw something that you like or learned something new, please consider subscribing to the channel, like and commenting on the video. A few disclaimers before we start. First of all, this is a prototype, so obviously the art and the components are subject of change. Second of all, this prototype was more tailored to a 3-player game. I decided to do only a 2-player game, so you are going to see things that maybe are not going to add up too much, but nothing that is going to affect actually the explanation of the rules or the different actions that we're going to see. The third thing that I want to say is a huge thank you for two people. First of all, to Hendri for taking his time teaching me this game, playing with me, and of course checking this video before releasing it to correct any kind of mistakes that you're going to see that I did in this video. And a second huge thank you for Mindclash team and especially Dorka, just for having an amazing communication. Thank you so much for your patience and for your time. Ready to see how it goes? Let the easy playthrough begin. Alright guys, so as always I have obviously skipped setup, but let's talk a little bit about what we can see on the table right now, starting with the main board that, as you can see, divided into different sectors numbered from 1 all the way to number 8. In each sector we're going to have different things. For example, at the center we can see the ship, right, the Revenant. Also we can see our 2 frigates, so you already understand that this is going to be a playthrough for 2 players. I'm going to play the blue player and Mr. Shwet over here is going to play the yellow player. Also we can see the different arc ships that cannot move at all. We're going to see it a little bit later. We have the different fighters, the drop ships. We have also the Voidborn ships right over here. We have different rifts in 4 different sectors, and we have the planet cards right over here. Next to the board we have 3 different types of cards that we already drew one of each as part of the setup, and we'll be able to draw them at different steps of the game. We're going to see it later. Also we have the hidden influence cards over here and other cards that we're going to see a little bit later when we'll talk about the Hyperjump or on the planets themselves. On the other side of the board we can see that we have the influence board that correspond to the influence that we have with the different houses, and I already apologize because I really don't remember all the names of the different houses, but this is something that will help us to keep track on how much influence we have in each house. Over here in this board we have the sequence of each turn that we're going to take, the different actions. Also we have this track right over here to keep us on track on which phase we're doing right now. Over here we have the token that shows us if the Hyperjump is deactivated or activated. And here we have the tactics track. Now here with the player area we have 2 different boards. The first one that we're going to keep track on the crew itself, starting with the captain, and over here we can see which level the captain is. That is some bonuses that they will be able to receive a little bit later. Next to it we have our frigate board that will be able to upgrade a little bit later with different cards. Also we have the resources. We're going to start with 1 of each at the beginning of the game. We have here the slots for the resources and for the bonus actions, and we're going to start with 1 of these slots that is corrupted. And we're going to start with a few cards like the hidden agenda that is not going to be relevant for this playthrough since we're not having a full playthrough all the way to the end. We have a hidden influence card that, as you can see, is actually open right now because that is part of the setup. We have these 2 cards for the discovery data tokens and also the void residue. And we're going to have here, as I said before, 3 cards, 1 of each type. One of them is to upgrade our frigate, the other one is to upgrade our crew member, and the third one is something that is going to happen 1 time, and then we're going to keep the card next to our board. With that, guys, I want to already start and doing the first turn, so I have randomly chosen that Mr. Shwet over here is going to be the first player, and they need now to choose either the captain or one of the crew members to take the first action. So it doesn't really matter right now. Let's take the crew member that we have right over here, and we're going to follow this sequence that we can see on this track. So first of all, as you already understand, Revenant is really, in this case, like Voidfall. That means a lot of iconography, but iconography that really makes sense, and I'm going to walk you through it. So again, we're going to choose one of our crew. In this case, it's going to be a crew member, and we're going to take one of the actions. That means to place it in one of the ships that we have in any sector that you wish to, as long as it is available. Right now, all the ships are available, so we can really choose whatever we would like. So I'm going to place this crew member right over here, and then the next icon that we can see is that we'll need to advance with our influence according to which house we have just placed our worker with. In our case, it's this house that corresponds to this track right over here. So the yellow player is going to take their influence marker with this specific house and going to advance it one step up. So far, so good. Now we'll be able to move, if we wish to an adjacent sector. In our case, the yellow player, Mr. Chouette, does not wish to move to a different sector, and they're going to go directly and take this action. Since this is a dropship, they will be able to land on this planet. So let's do it right now. And also, since this is the first time in this round that a player is visiting this planet, they're going to take this discovery token and they're going to place it right over here. Later, we're going to see what happens if all of these 3 slots are full. Now, when we have reached a planet, we can choose one of the 2 actions that we have here. This is one of the actions, and this is the second action that is going to be corrupted. So, since the yellow player does feel a little bit corrupted today, let's take this action and see what it means. Very simple. We're going to take 1 energy and 2 neutroniums. So, when I'm taking these resources from the main supply, we'll need to place them on the player board right over here. Now, all of these slots, as you can see, are free, but over here we have a corruption. That means that we'll not be able to place over here any resources. Obviously, if I have already 2 resources in one of the slots, I will not be able to add more over there. So just for the fun of it, let's place 2 neutroniums right over here, and we're going to take the energy and we place it right over there. So now that we have finished with our action, now we'll need to take the corruption. Now, over here on this track, it is a little bit of a misprint because this corruption should be between the action and the bonus action. So when we're going to take corruption, it's going to be over here from the supply. And again, we'll need to choose one of the free of corruption slots and place it. Now, again, as you remember, if I'm going to place the corruption, for example, over here, then I will not be able to use either this energy or the bonus action that is stated right over here. So just to make things a little bit more simple, the yellow player is going to place this corruption in this place. Now it's time to choose one of the bonus actions. So the bonus actions are all the actions that we can see right over here. Again, as a reminder, these 2 slots are corrupted, so we'll not be able to take these 2 actions. That's totally fine because Mr. Chouette would like to use this action right over here. That means to play a card. So the cards here are obviously open to you guys, but basically it's supposed to be hidden information. So you're going to keep these cards close to your chest. Now, when I want to play a card, I need to look at the cost of the card that is marked on the top left corner of each card. Now, I need to pay the full price that is written. That means all the resources that are stated, unless I have placed my worker in a place, okay, in one of the ships that correspond to the house that we can see on the card. Since this is not the case because this house right over here does not correspond with any of the cards that we have, then we're just going to pay the full price, and that's totally okay because Mr. Chouette is going to play this card right over here. So let's take a look. This card that is called No Mercy says destroy up to 2 Voidborn in a sector. Then, if there are no more Voidborn left in this sector, gain 2 advancement on the tactics track. Okay, so let's see what actually does it mean. First of all, let's pay. So the cost, as we can see, is 1 of any resource. So Mr. Chouette is going to pay this material. And also we're going to pay 1 energy because we have to. That is exactly what is stated. And of course I can either take the one that I just took or this one. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. These 2 resources are going to go over here back to the main supply. And now we're going to execute what is written on the card. So I can choose any sector that I want, but obviously if I'm going to choose one of these sectors that have 3 of this Voidborn, I will not be able to completely fulfill what is written on the card, right? Because we need later a sector that is completely empty from Voidborn. So let's choose just for the fun of it. And maybe now it's a good time, guys, to tell you that sometimes maybe in this video you're going to see me take some weird decisions or making some stupid moves, but I'm not here at all to give you any kind of strategical advices, just to show you as many cases as possible. So we're going to go right over here. We're going to destroy this Voidborn. Now, when you're destroying a Voidborn, this is what we can see with this iconography. We're immediately going to advance on the tactics track. So the yellow player is going to move 1 step to the right. This Voidborn can go back to the main supply. Now, since we don't have another Voidborn to destroy, we kind of finished that part. And now we can again see that there are no more Voidborn left in this sector. So that is our actually a condition. We're going to gain 2 more advancement. So 1 and 2. And as you can see, when you're moving from number 2 to 3, you're going to receive 1 material resource. So this material resource is going to go back to the yellow player, and we're going to place it right over here. This card, after we have finished using it, is not going to go to a discard pile. Actually, we're going to keep it because we are going to score some points for it at the end of the game. So let's place it right over here. And with that, you guys, we have finished the first turn of the yellow player, moving on to the blue player. So the blue player again decides to take one of their crew members, and I'm going to place this crew member right over here. So again, if we're following this track right over here, after we have chosen which worker we would like to use, we're going to receive influence according to the ship that we have just placed it. And we can see that this ship corresponds to this one right over here. That is the same house, of course. So we're going to advance by 1. Now, we have here some thresholds on number 2, 6, and 8. And every time that we're going to reach this threshold, of course, if we are the first player to do that on that specific track, we're going to receive that bonus that we have. In our case, it's going to be 1 neutronium that we're going to immediately place over here on our board. Now again, as we can see right over here, we can move up to 1 adjacent sector. So we're going to move with our ship right over here. And again, just to remind you, the only ships that can move are our frigate, the dropships, and the fighters. And we're going to immediately land on this planet right over here. Again, since we are the first player to do that, we're going to take this token and place it on our discovery data card. And now we're going to choose one of the 2 actions that we have over here. So I think the blue player is going to choose this action that we have right over here that says play an improvement card. This is one of the cards that we have right over here, and also receive 1 energy and 1 science. So let's take 1 energy and 1 science and place them right over here. And then we can play one of the improvement cards. So I think what we're going to do is to play this card. This is called a training card, and that means that we're going to pretty much upgrade one of our crew members. This card that is called Minor is going to cost us 1 science and then 1 science and 1 energy. But pay attention that this card does correspond to the same ship that we have right over here, right? It's the same house. So that means that we need to pay only 1 science and 1 energy, and we can ignore this resource right over here. So we're going to take these 2 resources right over here. We're going to discard them back to the main supply. And now this training card, we're going to apply to one of the crew members that we have. So basically we need to take this card and put it under one of our crew members, and they're going to have a bonus the next time they're going to do something. I don't want to go into it right now. Let's just say that this card we're going to apply to the unplayed crew member that we have right over here. So since I don't have too much space on my table, let's place the card right over here. Now, as a bonus action, I can choose any one of these actions that I want, right? This one is corrupted. And I think that what we're going to do is to advance 1 step on the tactics track. So let's move 1 over here. And again, it's back to the yellow's turn. We're going to take the second crew member. And again, I remind you that you can also play the captain. There is absolutely no problem with that. But we're going to see a little bit later what is happening when you're placing the captain, because it's going to be a little bit different. So the yellow player is going to use their own ship, their own frigate. Now, when this happens, you're actually not going to advance with the influence of one of the houses. You're actually going to draw one of the hidden influence cards that we have over here. So what you need to do is to take one of these cards, you're going to secretly look to which house it belongs to, and then you're going to keep it hidden from the other players. Later, this is something that is going to count towards the end of the game, right? We'll need to do final scoring, because that will mean that we actually have more influence in that specific house. So let's place it actually open, and I'm going to place it right over here so we remember that this one actually needs to be hidden. Now, when you're placing one of your team members in your own ship, you'll be able to choose one of these actions that we have over here. That means that either it's going to act like a dropship or as a fighter, or we'll be able actually to do not this and not that, and we're going to put one of these observers. That is something that is going to use as a shield that we might see in a later point of the game. What the yellow player wishes to do is to have one movement, so they're going to move to this sector right over here, and they wish to actually operate as a fighter. Now, a fighter in general, every time that they're going to activate, they're going to do 1 damage in their own sector. Each damage that they're going to do is going to hit one of the Voidborn ships. So right over here, if we're going to have 1 damage, this Voidborn ship is going to go back to the main supply, it's going to be destroyed, and the yellow player is going to advance one more time on the tactics track. That was our main action. Now we can choose one of the bonus actions that we have over here. These two are still corrupted. And what the yellow player would like to do is to get rid of some corruption. Now, we can do this action up to 2 times, and for each time that we're going to get rid of 1 neutronium and discard one of our cards, we'll be able to take out one of the corruptions, either that is situated on our player board, one of these corruptions, or from any ship that is right now corrupted. For example, this ship that is corrupted with this token right over here, or this one, and so on. So I think the yellow player would like to discard both neutronium and both of the cards that they still have in their hands. These 2 cards are going to go to the discard pile, and they're going to get rid of both of these corruption tokens that we have on their board, which now means that their ship is not corrupted at all. These 2 corruption tokens that we have just removed from our ship are not going to go back to the main supply just yet. They're going to move over here to this card that is the Void Residue. So when we're going to have here the 3rd token, we're going to remove all of these corruption tokens, the 3 of them, and we're going to draw 1 hidden influence card. Moving back to the blue player, they're going to use now their 2nd crew member, this one right over here. And I do remind you that we have improved this crew member before, so we're going to see how it's going to work right now. The action that they're going to choose is to place it right over here on this dropship. So again, the first thing that we need to do, as we remember from this track, is to advance our influence according to which house we have just placed our worker. In our case, it's this house right over here. So let's advance the blue marker. Then we're going to skip the movement. We don't want to move, and we are going to land on this planet right over here. That means since we are the first player and we still have this discovery data token, we're going to place it right over here on our card. And now we need to choose one of the 2 actions that we have over here. Now, the corrupted action that we have over here is a corrupted action that actually connects to mining. Now, we remember with our card, let's read it again, that after planet action, mining, we're going to receive 2 more material. So that's great. Let's see how does it work. So we're going to take the corrupted action. First of all, we're going to take 1 material and 2 neutroniums. So let's place them right now just like this. And then after we have resolved this action, again, after planet action mining, we're going to receive 2 more materials. So let's take 2 materials, place them right over here. But here, the thing is that after we have taken this action, since we have taken the corrupted action, we need to take 1 corruption. So this corruption, we'll need to choose where to place it. So unfortunately, that does mean that we're going to lose here 2 resources, but you know, that's part of the playthrough, right? Let's place it right over here. But again, guys, you can place it wherever you want as long as it's free. Now it's time to resolve the bonus action. So I think what they would like to do is to play a card. And the card that we're going to play is this one right over here. That is equipment that is going to upgrade our ship. This card that is called Virtual Training. First of all, we'll need to pay the price. So that is 2 materials and 2 neutroniums. So let's pay the price. That is 2 over here and 2 over here. That can go back to the main supply. Not you, corruption. You're going to stay right over here. And now we're going to place it over here in the leftmost position. Moving back to the yellow player, we're going to use our captain. Now pay attention that when you're using the captain, first of all, we can see that with a ship, we can move 1 more sector. This is with the icon that we have right over here. And also, since we are at level 1, we'll be able to have some advantages. We're going to take this captain, and you know what? I think that what we're going to do is to place it right over here on the Revenant. Now, we can see that we have 2 options to put our worker, either on this part of the Revenant and do this action, or place it over here and resolve this action. So I think that we're going to go right over here. First of all, when you're going to place your worker on the Revenant, you can choose to advance your influence on any house that you wish to. So I think that what we're going to do is to advance right over here and to receive this energy token. So let's place it over here. And now our action says that we need to pay 1 material, 1 neutronium, 1 science, and 1 energy. So let's get rid of all of these resources in order to launch a new ship to the board. Over here, as part of setup, we have left some ships behind. So let's place it right over here. It will be a little bit more clear. And we can choose any one of these ships, including the civilian ships that we have over here that are, of course, affiliated to one of the houses, and place them wherever we want. So here's the thing, you guys. When I'm going to place one of the ships of one of the houses, they're going to have this token upgraded right over here. Right now, all the tokens are 2 because each house right now has 2 ships on the board. The moment that I'm going to put another ship of one of the houses, we're going to have this number upgraded. So from 2, it's going to be 3. And it's important because at the end of the game, we're going to multiply the number that we have at the top of this track with the number of influence that we have. So to make things with a bit more sense, we're going to choose this house right over here, this yellow house, and we're going to place it somewhere over here. So we're going to take this dropship, and I think that we're going to place it right over here. All the other ships, the civilians and the other type of ships, we can take off the board. And right now, since we have 3 ships of the yellow house, we're going to take this token right over here, and we're going to change it with 3. And of course, if one of the ships is going to be destroyed and removed from the board, we're going to take this token, we're going to downgrade it to a lower number. Pay attention only to one restriction that we have over here, and that is that we can never exceed 5 ships in the same sector. After we have done the main action, it's time to take a bonus action, and now we know that all of the corruption has been removed, so we can really take any action that we would like. In our case, the yellow player would like to take this action right over here. That means to take any type of resource. They're going to take 1 science. So let's place it right over here and go back to the blue player that is going to take their last action. So let's take the captain, and we're going to place the captain right over here. Pay attention that this ship is corrupted, so we are going to take 1 corruption before taking the bonus action. We're going to choose this action that we have right over here, and that means that we'll be able to destroy 2 Voidborn in any sector. So let's keep it simple. We're going to take 2 Voidborn ships right over here. We're going to destroy them, and again, that means that we're going to advance 2 times on the tactics track. So 1 and 2, that means of course that we're going to receive as a bonus 1 material. Let's place it right over here. And now before I'm taking the bonus action, as you remember, I'm going to take 1 corruption that I have over here, and I'm going to place it just like this. As a bonus action, the blue player sees that it's really starting to be not so pleasant. They're going to execute this bonus action right over here. And they're going to do it only 1 time since they have only 1 card in their hands. So let's pay 1 neutronium. Let's discard this card over here. And we're going to remove 1 corruption I think that we're going to take out this one right over here. Again, when we're taking down corruption, it's going to be placed on this card just like this. And with this, guys, we have finished the action phase, and we're going to move on to the recall phase, where all the players, first of all, are going to call back all of their workers. Then we're going to remove the dropships from the planets, just like this, so we know that we're not there anymore. And the last thing that we're going to do is that the player that is the most advanced on the tactics track is going to choose who is going to be the first player in the next round. So Mr. Schwett over here would like to keep it simple, and they're going to stay the first player in the next round. After we have finished the recalling phase, we're going to move on to the breach phase. So we're going to start from sector 1, and we're going to resolve each sector all the way up to number 8. And we're going to see how much damage does the Voidborn going to do to our ships. So let's start over here with number 1. We can see that we have here 3 Voidborn ships, and that basically means that the ship that we have right over here is going to take 3 damage. So the arc ship is going to take 1, 2, and 3 right over here, and that is basically the maximum amount of damage that the arc ship can take, which means that the next time this arc ship is going to take damage, it's going to be destroyed and removed from the board. Right over here in sector 2, we can see that we don't have Voidborn at all, so we're good to go. When we're moving to number 3, we can see that we have 1 Voidborn. That means that we're going to assign 1 damage. Now the player that is the closest to this sector is going to decide how to apply this damage. Since we can see that the distance of the blue ship is 1 and 2, and for the yellow player it's only 1, it's going to be the yellow player that will decide how to apply this damage. And this, guys, is where we're going to see how some throats are going to be cut. So the yellow player basically can decide to which ship they would like to apply the damage, and we can look right now at the influence track and see maybe what is the decision that the yellow player would like to take. And I think they're going to start apply damage to this house right over here, since the blue player is more advanced than the yellow player. So we're going to take this damage token, we're going to place it right over here. Moving on to this sector, we have 1 damage, so that's going to be super easy. Going to place it just like this. Over here we have 3 damage. So to be honest, guys, this is kind of going to hurt both of the ships right over here. But again, it's the blue player that is going to decide how to assign the damage. So we're going to start with 1 damage over here, and then a 2nd damage to this ship. So now this ship is being exploded, and that means that when we're looking at this house, they have 1 less ship, so they're going to take down the power to 1, right? Because they have now only 1 ship from their house on the board. And the 3rd damage we're going to apply right over here. Moving on, here we can see that we have no Voidborn at all. Over here in this sector, we again have 3 damage, and it's going to be the blue player that will decide how to apply this damage. So they're going to do some payback to the yellow player. 1st damage over here, 2nd damage to this ship, which means that they're going to remove it from the board. And when we're looking at the yellow house, now they have back to 2 ships on the board. So the power is going to go down from 3 back to 2. And the 3rd damage that they're going to put is going to be right over here on this arc ship. Moving on to sector number 8, we don't have here Voidborn at all, and that means that we have finished applying the damage. Next, we're going to pass again sector by sector, and we're going to see if we have both of the conditions. That means a Voidborn and a Rift. So again, starting from number 1, we do see that we have over here a Voidborn and a Rift. We do need to add over here 1 corruption, but this ship is already corrupted, so that means that we're going to ignore it, and we're moving to the 2nd sector. We don't have neither Rift or Voidborn. Over here we do have both of the conditions, so we're going to add 1 corruption to 1 of the ships. Again, it's going to be the yellow player that is going to decide, and they're going to apply it right over here. Moving on, here we don't have a Rift. Here we do need to have one corruption, so let's add it just like this. Here we don't have neither Voidborn or a Rift, and over here we already have both of these ships corrupted, so nothing to do on number 7, and again number 8 is completely clean. Now that we have finished the breach phase, we're going to check and see if any player has made a Hyperjump. But since no player has taken this Hyperjump action that we can see right over here on the Revenant, we're going to skip this phase and we're going to move on to the Sonar phase. And since you can see right over here, since we didn't have this Hyperjump token on the activated side, we're going to take the action that we can see right here below, and that means that we're going to spawn some Voidborns. So we're going to start over here with the Rift that we have on sector number 1, and each sector that we have a Rift, we're going to spawn some Voidborn. And we're going to do that with a Sonar die that we have right over here. So how does it work? Let's roll the die for this sector right over here. So we have 2, 2, and 2. That means that if I'm going to align the die with the sector, we're going to have over here 2 Voidborn that are going to spawn. So I'm going to add them, but also to the sector to the right and to the sector to the left. Now, basically, this die was made in case of 4 players, so it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but I'm pretty sure that Mindclash are going to tweak a little bit the die when we're going to have 3 or 2 players. We finished with sector number 1, we're going to move on to sector number 3. Let's roll the die. So we have over here just the number 4. That means that 4 Voidborns are going to spawn right over here in this sector. And we're going to move on to the next sector, number 5. Let's roll the die again. We have here 5, so you can understand that for 2 players it might be a little bit too overwhelming. That is 3, 4, and 5. And over here in the last sector that we have a Rift, we're going to roll the die, and we have here again a 4. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, and the last one 4. After we have finished with that, we're going to draw some improvement cards. So I'm going to draw your attention to the level of the captain that we have. Both of them are at level 1. So if we're looking at this column right over here, we can see how many cards each player is going to draw. In this case, both of them are going to draw 2 improvement cards, and we can mix and match whichever type of cards that you would like to take. You can take, for example, 2 of these cards or 1 from 2 kinds, whatever you want. But the thing is that you have to, first of all, say which cards you're going to draw, and only then you can look at them. So I cannot take only 1 card, look at it, and then decide which is the second card that I'm going to take. So just to make the things a little bit easier, let's say that the blue player decides to take these 2 cards right over here, and the yellow player decides to take these 2 cards just like this. After we finish drawing cards, we're going to place on each planet card one of these discovery tokens. And with that, guys, we finished the Sonar phase, and we're going to move on to a second action phase. So here again, I want to show you at least the Hyperjump. I'm going to do this, or at least try to do this, a little bit faster. And again, since Mr. Schwett over here, the yellow player, has decided that they're going to be the first player, they're going to take the first action. Let's take the first crew member, and we're going to place them in this ship right over here. This is the dropship of this house, the orange house. So the yellow player is going to advance on the influence track of this specific house 1 step more. Now we're going to come with our dropship to this planet right over here, and we're going to take this discovery cube, we're going to place it right over here, and we're going to, on top of that, take this action of the mining. As I remind you, this is a corrupted action, so we're going to take care of it soon enough. So that means that we're going to take 1 material and 2 neutroniums. Let's place them right over here on our board, and we're going to move on to take corruption before taking the bonus action. So this corruption we can place right over here. So the bonus action that the yellow player would like to take is this one, and they're going to take 1 more neutronium. Moving on to the blue player's turn, they're going to take 1 of their crew members, and they're going to place it right over here on this dropship. So first of all, let's raise the influence in the same house on the track. From 2, we're going to move up to 3. then they don't wish to move to an adjacent sector, so they're going to land right over here on this planet. This discovery token they're going to place on their card, but pay attention that now we have 3 of these discovery tokens on the discovery data card. We're going to remove the 3 of them, and that will allow us to draw 1 hidden influence card. So as you remember, this information is supposed to stay hidden from the other player. Let's this time keep it face down just like this. Now they need to choose which action on the card they would like to do, and they're going to choose the action that we have on top. That means not the corrupted action that involves mining. With this action, they can draw 1 of the cards to their choice. They're going to draw this training card, again, hidden information, but just for the playthrough, we're going to put it face up. And on top of that, we're going to receive 1 science token and 1 energy token. So let's place the science token right over here, and the energy token we're going to spend right over here. Now, before we're going to take the bonus action, I remind you that this ship is corrupted, so we're going to take 1 corruption and we're going to place it right over here. As a bonus action, they're going to discard 1 of their cards, so let's discard this one and also pay 1 neutronium in order to reduce their corruption wherever they want. They're going to choose to do it on their ship. So we're going to actually take out this corruption right over here. And don't forget that we're going to place it on the void residue card just like this. Back to the yellow player, they're going to take 1 of their crew members and they're going to place it right over here on the Revenant because they want to activate the Hyperjump token. So before that, we're going to raise our influence on either track that we would like to, and what they would like to do right now is to raise their influence right over here with this house. So they're going to move over here to number 2, and this absorber token we can place on any sector that we would like. So I think just for the demonstration, let's say that they would like to place it right over here. We're going to place them next to the Voidborn ships, and after that they're going to take the action that we have over here with the Revenant. So they need to pay 3 neutroniums, 1, 2, and 3, back to the supply. And now we're going to take the Hyperjump token, we're going to flip it to the other side, that is the activated side. As a bonus action, the yellow player would like to do this one right over here, that is to activate their ability. Unfortunately, the yellow player's only ability is situated right over here. That is what we can see that correspond to the same icon that we have over here. And that means that we're going to destroy 1 of the Voidborn that is in the same sector as our frigate. As we can see, it's right over here. So this one we're going to eliminate, it's being destroyed. And that means also that we're going to advance 1 step over here on the tactics track. Moving back to the blue player, what they would like to do is to use their captain for no special reason for now. And they're going to place their captain right over here. So first of all, let's advance in our track 1 step, that is the yellow track over here. So 1 up. And then they're going to take this action that we have right over here on the arc ship. So of course, ignoring this one, taking this one. That means to take 2 science. And also on top of that, as their bonus action, they're going to take 1 more resource, and that is 1 more science. So let's play this one right over here. Moving to the yellow player's last move, they're going to take their captain and they're going to place it right over here. So first of all, let's take 1 influence on the same track, that is the red house. So from 0, we're going to go up to 1. And also they're going to decide to do the action that we have down right over here. This action says that we're going to destroy 2 Voidborn in any sector that we want, but pay attention that because they used their captain, if we're going to go to this column right over here, we're going to see that their captain is on level 1. So that means that when they're doing damage, they're going to do 1 more if they're using their captain. So that means that they're basically going to destroy 3 of these Voidborn. So I think what they're going to try to do is to take 1, 2, and let's do 3 right over here. So also that means that they're going to move 1, 2, and 3 on the tactics track. Don't forget that before they're taking their bonus action, this ship is corrupted. So 1 corruption they're going to take right over here to their board. Let's place it over here. Again, guys, I remind you, they can really place it wherever they want, but for now, just to make things easy, they're going to place it right over here. And as a bonus action, they want to play a card. So they're going to play this card right over here. We need to pay in general 1 energy and 1 of any resource, but pay attention that this card corresponds to the ship that we've just played, our worker, our captain. So we don't need to pay this energy, we just need to pay any 1 resource. In our case, let's get rid of 1 of the materials that we have over here and see what does the card mean. This card that is called Purified in Battle, destroy 1 Voidborn on the map and remove 1 corruption from your frigate board. Let's take out this Voidborn right over here. So again, we're going to advance 1 more step. And now it says remove 1 corruption from your frigate board. And this card again is not being discarded, is going to be kept next to our board. Moving to the last action of the blue player, let's see something a bit more interesting. They're going to take their crew member and they're going to place it right over here. So first of all, they're going to move up 1 influence in the same house, so that is right over here. And also they're going to take this action that we can see at the bottom of the ship. That means that they're going to pay 3 science, so no problem, that is 1, 2, and 3. And that will allow them to upgrade their captain 1 step up. So from level 1, now the captain is going to move up to level 2, and we're going to see how it's going to affect soon enough. As a bonus action, they would also like to activate their abilities. Now in our case, they're not only going to activate their ability that we can see right over here, they can also activate the ability that they have with the equipment on the ship. So we can choose at what order to execute it. So let's start with the ability that we have right over here. And that means that we can get rid of 1 hidden influence card in order to receive 1 influence on whichever house that we choose. So let's get rid of this card right over here. And I think that what we're going to do is to advance over here on this house and to receive this discovery token as a bonus to place on our card just like this. Moving to the second one, let's see what does this card mean. This card is called Virtual Training, and it says that during the bonus action, activate ability, which is exactly what we're doing right now, play 1 training card and spend its cost, or increase the level of your captain for 3 science. So we don't have 3 more science, we cannot do the second option. Let's do the first one. So I think that what we're going to do is to play this card right over here. I don't think we have a lot of options. So that is a training card. We're going to upgrade 1 of our crew members. Let's upgrade the crew member that hasn't received yet 1 of these cards. Of course, don't forget that we need to pay. So this card cost us 2 science and 1 energy. I'm going to discard it just like this. And with that, guys, we have finished the second action phase and we're moving to the recall phase. So again, all the workers are going to go back to the player boards. Then all the dropships or the frigate that are on planets are going to move away from the planets. And of course, the player that is the most advanced on the tactics track will choose who they want to be the first player for the next round. I think that Mr. Schwett right now would like to give it to the blue player, and just so they will be able to react a little bit to what they're doing in the next round. After that, we're going to move on to the bridge phase. So we're going to see here some interesting things. Let's start right over here with sector number 1. So we can see that we're going to deal here 5 damage. But this archship can take only 1 more damage. So 1 damage is going to go for the archship, but that means that the archship is going to be destroyed. So we're going to remove it from the player board, place it on the side. But also, this archship belongs to this house right over here. So that means that their power is going to drop again by 1. Since this was the last ship of this specific house, now we're going to have here 0 power. Now we still have over here 4 Voidborn that are going to have an excess damage, right? We don't have here any more ships, and that means that this damage is going to be assigned directly to our Revenant ship. So we're going to place 1, 2, 3, and 1 more, that is 4. And I think that you can already understand where this is going. Moving on to the second sector, we have one Voidborn, that means 1 damage, but we have here an Absorber. So that means that they're basically canceling each other. Over here we have 4 Voidborns, and we already remember that the player that is going to decide how to assign this damage is the player that is the closest to this sector. Obviously it's going to be the yellow player, and what they want to do is to place 1 damage over here, second, third, and fourth one we're going to play right over here. Again, it's not really important, just to show you what's going on. Moving on to the 4th sector, pretty easy. We have 1 Voidborn, we're going to assign 1 damage. Moving on to the 5th sector, oh my god, we have here, it's really a catastrophe, guys. So the first Voidborn is going to assign 1 damage over here, but this ship is already hurt. So what we're going to do, it's just going to be destroyed. Again, this house corresponds to this ship, so from 2 it's going to go down to 1. Now we saw here really a lot of damage, but I do remind you that there are options to repair the ships with different actions that we just didn't see in this playthrough. Again, we're going to have here 4 excess damage. Let's see what's going on. The first one is going to be assigned again to the Revenant, and then the next one, since the Revenant cannot take any more damage, basically means that the ship is completely destroyed. When the Revenant is destroyed, what we need to do is to draw one of these tiles over here, the Revenant damage tiles that I kind of added a little bit later in the playthrough. We need to take the bottommost tile, and all players need to resolve it. Over here it says blackout. All players need to discard 3 energy tokens, if of course they have them. So the blue player is going to discard the only energy token that they have. They don't have more than that, so nothing to do. And the yellow player is going to discard the 2 energy tokens that they have. After we have resolved that, we can put this tile aside and we're moving on. Now, we still have excess damage over here. We can remove all the damage from the Revenant right now. So that means that more damage that needs to be assigned to the Revenant after it's been destroyed already, we're simply going to ignore. So we finished over here, moving on to the 6th sector, nothing to resolve over here. Then moving to the 7th sector, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically with the last damage that we're going to apply to one of these ships, we're going to have one of the ships destroyed. Since it's going to be the blue player's decision, they will decide to destroy this red house ship. And if you're looking at this track right over here, it kind of makes sense because the yellow player is on the lead on this house track. So this ship is going to be destroyed and out from the board, and that means that the power of the red house is going to drop by 1. Finishing over here, moving to the next sector, we're going to have here 2 Voidborns, so we're going to apply 2 damage to the ships over here, and the player that is going to assign it is going to be the yellow player, because even though the distance from this sector is equal for both yellow and blue player, it is the yellow player that is on the lead on the tactics track. So they don't want to destroy any one of these ships because they're on the lead in both of these tracks, so they're going to apply 1 damage to each ship. And with that, guys, we have finished the breach phase and we're going to move on to the hyperjump phase. So here we need to check if the hyperjump token is on the active side, which it is. So we are going to resolve whatever we can see over here. Now, basically, guys, when we're doing hyperjump, we're kind of moving to another area in space, so it's kind of going to make sense to you. So we're going to have here a small procedure that we're just going to follow. The first thing that we need to do is to flip this token to its deactivated side. Then with this icon, we're going to get rid of all of the planet cards that we had on the board. The next icon says that we're going to put aside the rifts, so we're just going to take them out. Then we're going to remove all the Voidborn ships from the board. The next thing will involve the tactics track, so we're going to push down to 0 both of the markers of the players, but pay attention that since the blue player right over here is already on level 2 with our captain, when we need to do that, they're not going to go down to 0, they're going to go to 1. So the blue player is going to be right over here. For the yellow player, it's going to be a little bit different, since when they're pushing back to 0 their marker, they're going to pass on their way back this threshold right over here. So let's put it back on 0. And this icon means that they're going to draw one hidden influence card to put in their possession. And with that, guys, we have finished the Hyperjump phase, and with that, of course, the second round of Revenant. But I just want to show you the next Sonar phase, because we are going to have here some differences. In this Sonar phase, since we did have a Hyperjump that was resolved at the end of the previous round, the player that did take this action of Hyperjump is going to take a look at these two cards that we have right over here, and they're going to choose one of them. Let's just, for the example, say that the yellow player has decided to take this Sonar card. The other one we can discard. And now, according to what we can see on this card, we need to set up the board again. Starting with the planet cards, so now we need to draw 3 random planet cards, and we're going to place them exactly in the same position that is stated on this card right over here. And immediately we can already put one of these discovery tokens on them. Then we're going to put the different rifts, so one over here, 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 and here. Then we're going to put all the Voidborn according to what is stated on the card. So we have here 2, 4, 5, and 4. And last but not least, we do see that we have here something else, and that is a civilian ship of the yellow house. So we're going to place this one right over here. And now, of course, pay attention that since we do have here one more ship for the yellow house, we are going to increase their power on the influence board. So from 2, we're going to change it to a token with the number 3. The last step in the Sonar phase, if we had the Hyperjump, is to reveal 2 more Sonar cards that will be ready for potentially another Hyperjump in the future. Now when it's time to draw again the improvement cards, pay attention again that since the blue player's captain is already on level 2, they will be able to draw 3 cards and not only 2 like the yellow player. And with that, guys, I think we're going to stop the playthrough right over here. I hope that this video made you understand a little bit better how Revenant is working, and you'll be able to table this game in a little bit more of an easier way. Again, this is a game of a lot of iconography, but everything makes sense over here. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I truly appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you next time.